Welcome to the OTC Podcast, a show where I bring a guest to the outdoors and we bring the outdoors to you. I'm your host, Nico Prada, and today my guest is, like many of my guests, I just have way too many fucking things to name. I think he might be part android. We're about to find out. He is a Jeopardy winner. He is the co-creator of the Miami Underground Film Festival, and he is also proof that goth kids do, in fact, come out during the daylight. Mr. Andrew Schwartz, everybody.
Hey!
Did I get you? There you are, sorry.
Okay, I can't see if I'm in the shot, but sure.
Yeah, you are now.
Hi.
Welcome, dude.
This is serious old stomping grounds. We're on a park that's right next to the school I went to kindergarten and first grade.
Yeah, we are still allowed near elementary school, so we decided to take a hike near one. No, we're somewhere in Miami. As you can see, it's the outdoors, but there's a street right here.
Suburbs.
But we found this pretty sweet trail not too far from Andrew's house, and then when we were on the way over here, we found out that this is actually where Andrew went to elementary school.
For kindergarten and first grade, yeah.
So
then our family moved. But
yeah, so I'm sure this is going to be unlocking all kinds of weird, hopefully safe memories.
It already is, yeah.
It already is? All right, cool. So Andrew, I do this thing. Normally I give my friends homework, and I don't remember if I told it to you, but here's something I like to do at the beginning of the hikes, which is I ask my guests on the Disney princess scale, from Sleeping Beauty to Pocahontas, how outdoorsy are you? If you want to tell us a little bit later on as you think about it, that's fine, because normally I give people homework. But today I showed up with the wrong sandwich. I showed up unprepared, and now I'm giving you the Disney princess scale without giving you time to prepare for it. So, do you want to improv it, or do you want to wait a little bit and give it some thought?
I mean, I was on high school swim team, so I guess I'm an Ariel.
There you go. There you go. You can be my little mermaid today.
All right.
Which is great. So, did you grow up around like the outdoors at all? I know that I know you've gone hiking and like some pretty mountainous areas before.
Yes, my parents were both very much into the outdoors and being athletic. My dad was a rugby player and a martial artist. He actually won a bronze medal in the Maccabi Games, yay.
The Maccabi Games? Is that like the Death Games?
They're the Jewish Olympics.
Oh,
sounds a lot less impressive when you put it that way. It sounds like it's a bunch
Games.
of guys with like inhalers, but no, it's actually real athletes.
I did not know there was such thing as the Jewish Olympics.
Yeah, like the biggest name athlete they had that year was like, I think Mark Spitz, the Olympic swimmer, showed up to kick off ceremonies. But yeah, my dad like loved to take us like hiking when I was a kid. My mom has family up in New Hampshire, so we'd go there a lot. I've hiked Mount Monadnock up there a bunch of times, and a bunch of the White Mountains.
Holy moly! And
we used to do a lot of whitewater rafting also.
Did you always
the 90s?
Did you always do it in jeans or no?
A lot of the time, yeah.
That's impressive, man. I chafe too hard. If you see on the side of my backpack here, I have a little baby powder.
Oh.
Just because even with my skinny ass legs, I chafe a little too hard. So in case you do,
horseshit.
I gotta, yeah.
No,
it's true. It's true.
No, there's literal horseshit.
Oh, there's little horseshit right there. Yeah.
But yeah, my dad, remember, would always use like the baby powder or the cornstarch powder, because when he was a kid, he saw a National Lampoon, I believe it was, where there was an ad with Ken Kesey that was just holding up a bottle of cornstarch powder and just looking straight at the camera saying, "I've been putting cornstarch powder on my balls for years." He's like, well, that always stuck with me, so
that's fantastic.
It works,
if he's been doing it for years and he's on TV, you can't lie.
He wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, so you gotta trust him.
Oh, that's fantastic. See, that's another thing I didn't know. Every time I hang out with Andrew, I learn. It's like drinking an 18-pack of Snapple hanging out with you, because I learn a whole lot of little fun facts. Now,
was the subject of the electric Kool-Aid acid test, which fascinating story from the 60s written by Tom Wolfe, where they've just traveled across country in a multicolored bus, just a bunch of hippies on acid. And it sounds really interesting, described by Tom Wolfe, and then maybe 10 years ago somebody put out a documentary where they just had footage that nobody had released until then from the actual tour. And so you see the visuals of what was happening, and it's a disconnect with what you read in the book. It's a lot less poetic and flowery.
You see
a lot more just like messy and drugged out.
You see the visuals from the outside, not from the inside.
Yeah, exactly. When it's from the inside, they're like, wow, this beautiful
This is
experience. I'm having.
groovy.
From the outside, it's like, y'all can't play jazz.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember. I was kind of part of like the hippie clique in high school, and there was one kid in particular who, the one who took the most, who was the most impressive of everybody. And like, obviously everybody smoked a little pot, but every now and then there'd be like people who like took harder drugs, and this kid was always talking about the psychedelics and how it changed his life, and he learned the real secrets of the universe. And our guitar teacher finally got kind of sick of it, and he was like, all right, Juan, like, that's his real name, but no one knows where he is.
No, that's not his real name.
Juan Menino is his real name. Nobody knows where he is. Nobody gives a fuck. Sorry.
Okay.
No, people give a fuck. I'm saying nobody will give a fuck that, he's not going to get in trouble for it. He goes, all right, Juan, tell me the secrets of the universe. Tell me really what you learned from LSD and from mushrooms and whatever the hell else you do. What did you learn? And he goes, like restaurants. Like I used to really like going to restaurants, but like I don't really like that anymore. Like, so that's what your movie reminded me of.
So that was like the deep secrets of the universe?
The deep secrets of the universe is I don't like going to restaurants anymore. He used to, but not so much anymore. Oh, we're back out into a neighborhood.
Yeah, we can turn around and find another one.
Yeah, we can figure things out. So
I think when I was like, I don't know, 16, 17, doing acid, whatever, mine was just like, this is like having all of the most powerful ideas in the universe, and they form this like living ink in this pen that is jammed with the strength of the ideas that they can never come out. And you're like,
that's pretty cool.
That's shitty though, because you're like, great, I had these ideas, but I can't get them out. Oh, that sucks.
That sucks, yeah. That's wild. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, I mean, psychedelic drugs and stuff, they did kind of shape a lot of like the 60s music that I like, but at the same time I think people give way too much credit to the drugs. You're a creative person too. You just had you had something else pushed at you. It happened to be a fucking something you dug out of cow shit, but I don't know. It's kind of like that what's that Futurama episode? The music was in your heart, not in your hands.
Oh, when Fry shakes his hands with the robot devil?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. But well, you know how that episode ends, so maybe that wasn't a great example.
Oh, I mean, he ends up with Leela, doesn't he?
I thought in that episode...
Isn't he just like playing just for her at the end, or am I misremembering?
I think so, but, well, immediately after Zoidberg says, the music was in your heart, not in your hands.
Your music is bad and you should feel bad.
Exactly, dude. Somehow I knew that you would be able to complete the sentence for me when it came to something like Futurama. That's fantastic. So, I always tend to get a little bit off trail, but you said, where was the mountainous area that you've hiked?
In several states, but like mostly in New Hampshire and like the White Mountains and like Mount Monadnock, which is not an incredibly high one. I think it's only like a mile or so up, but it's one of the most climbed mountains in the world, along with Mount Fuji.
Oh shit.
Usually we take the White Dot Trail, and it's nice. You get a really like clear view of a whole bunch of different areas from the summit, like from the peak of the mountain.
How long of a hike is that?
I want to say that it would take us like an hour or two to get to the top, and maybe I don't think it was that bad.
Gotcha. So it wasn't like one of those like an overnight hike or...
No, I did when I was like a teenager. My dad and I did a bunch of the Appalachian Trail in the White Mountains especially, and we did stay at the huts. You'd have to like make reservations ahead of time and shit, and make sure you're packing your trash in and out, because they don't have any services for that.
Do you have to pack your poop in and out?
No, they did at least have
you can bury it?
Well, you're not really supposed to do that, but when you get to the huts itself, they had bathrooms.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like they call them huts, but it's like an actual building. It's not it's like a lean-to or something. They have like electricity and running water and all of that.
Gotcha. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, these are mountain. Like the hut system has been around for a long time now, and so they're basically like hostels on the mountain.
Oh, okay.
So
is that
it's not like a nice hotel, but it's hell of a lot nicer than the word hut makes it sound.
Yeah, no, of course. But is that towards the end of the Appalachian Trail, where it's considered the 100-mile wilderness, or no?
I'm not sure. This is all in New England. I've never done it anywhere like
Gotcha. Because I can't remember. My girlfriend did that part. I can't remember if it ends in New Hampshire or in Maine. No, it might be Maine. I'm sorry. I think that's Maine.
Is probably the very tip because that's as far north as you can go.
Because
I went whitewater rafting in Maine, and I remember seeing moose, and they're just absolutely gigantic.
Holy shit.
Like,
that must have been
close. You're like, hey, you probably shouldn't get this close because they're actually really dangerous.
Yeah. Being in the presence of a moose has to be pretty humbling, to say the least.
Yeah.
Oh, these trails are weird.
This is Floyd Elementary School, if you want to.
So this is your school? I don't know if I'm allowed to film it, but I guess this is
I don't see anybody there.
This is what shaped you, huh?
Yeah, it was a really weird place because the bottom floor is covered with a hill on the side. They have like it built up on the side of the building.
Okay.
So if you're in one of the first floor rooms, they don't have any windows.
Oh.
So yeah,
okay.
It feels kind of like a supervillain compound or something, you know?
Okay, so then speaking of rooms with no windows in an elementary school, why don't you tell me what you were telling me like right before I started recording?
So I went to, preschool where it was just basically daycare and everything. So my very first like going to school experience, kindergarten, was here at Gloria Floyd. And my parents were friends with one of the vice principals, and he said we're going to be doing this new pilot program. So I was taken to some psychiatrists, and they did tests, and they showed me flashcards and stuff. And then after that, I was put into a program where a big part of the day, I would be taken out of the normal class with no explanation given to any other students or to me, really. Just, you're going to go to this other room, and there's just going to be another teacher, and she's going to ask you a bunch of questions, and we're going to put you on a computer and have you do a bunch of programs, and we're just going to run a bunch of experiments and stuff. And that was most of my kindergarten, just by myself in that class, until like by the end of the year they had 2 other boys in the class with me as well. So I later learned that it was because they had gifted programs already in Florida, but none for anybody under the age of like 10 or so. So they're like, hey, you're gonna be the guinea pig. And yeah, so when I finally saw the show Stranger Things and I saw like how Eleven was raised, I'm like, hey, that felt really familiar. I just didn't get special powers though.
I think you got some special powers. You just don't know it. Anyone who knows Andrew watching this know I've never seen you without that do-rag, and I think the reason why you wear that is so that your brain doesn't expand too far and get too big. Because you just, and I'm not trying to brown nose you like you're so smart, but you know a lot of so many different subjects.
I wish I could claim it was because I was Dr. Nemesis from the X-Men, who removes that he has a bunch of psychedelic mushrooms growing out of the top of his head.
That would be pretty groovy.
He had some fun stories in the Krakoa era.
Yeah.
And before that, in X Club.
Although I feel like if you had psychedelic mushrooms growing in your head, you would wear a lot more tie-dye, a lot less black. Because you're like, man, if this is your first time watching me on the show, first of all, awesome to have like friends of mine watching this. But I usually wear all black. I'm wearing this just because I started like taking backpacking and hiking seriously like 2-something years ago, and I was like, all right, I can't do this shit, and I can't do the fucking band t-shirt out here anymore. I'm sure that the Florida Panthers are gonna think I am so cool when they see me wearing my Dreadeth shirt. Oh, who's Dreadeth? You probably never even heard of him, okay?
Yeah, but I'm shamelessly plugging my brand. That's
good though. That's good. Yeah. But yeah, I used to. I feel like where was I going with it? Psychedelic mushrooms growing on the head. I'd probably wear a lot more like, I don't know, like spandex tie-dye or something like that.
When I'm going up like Mount Monadnock in New Hampshire, I don't think we've gone this way, have we?
I don't know. Oh, I like this one. This one doesn't even feel like a trail.
Yeah, it's like there's some feet that have worn a trail, but
yeah,
it's not as well worn as the others.
I found homeless camps like this.
You would see a mixture of people, and yeah, you'd see plenty of people in like the tie-dye and stuff, because you're right next to Vermont, and Vermont is a very hippie state compared to New Hampshire, which is more of a right libertarian state.
Okay.
They're both very small, but they each have their own very distinct like flavor to them, even though the geography is very similar.
Gotcha. I've done comedy in Maine. I did New Hampshire too. Yeah, Nashua. Does that ring a bell? Nashua, New Hampshire?
It's a bigger area, but I've never really spent time there.
Gotcha.
I spent a lot of time near Keene, where I have family. Keene is also where they had the headquarters of the Free State Project, which collapsed It was an idea that a bunch of libertarians were going to create their own voluntary estate or a small like area where they'd all buy up a bunch of property together, and then they would all have like covenants between each other, as opposed to having like a functional government. It would just be like, we're all going to, anything that we want to agree with between each other has to be through contract or mutual understanding. Everything has to be voluntary, which sounds nice, but is like a impractical nightmare. And I believe I think that they ended up like having the thing shut down because there was nobody to chase off the bears that kept showing up.
They didn't come to an agreement on who would chase off the bears?
They just had a lot of problems, and they were trying to attract a very large number of people to be sustainable, and they only got a fraction of the number they actually needed.
Gotcha.
I do have to give them props though for picking the very perfect mascot for their organization, which was a porcupine.
Why is that perfect?
It's not, you know, the Democrats' donkey or the elephant of the Republicans or like the rose for the Democratic Socialists or anything like that. It's the, you know, don't touch me, keep the fuck away from me, porcupine. I'm like, okay, you guys are self-aware at least, you know. I gotta give you props for that.
I like that. That's pretty cool. Well, we hit another dead end. I'm liking this trail. I'm not gonna lie, even though it's a little weird and it definitely makes for like a pausey record scratch episode. But that's also
like
yeah, exactly. We hit a lot of dead ends, and I'm keeping a lot of the stuff that you would normally think that I would be editing out, because that's just how it is trying to film in the outdoors. I've gotten rained on, my camera has overheated. We've had to, you know, like leave the trail to go refill water because it was just too hot and things like that. So I just decided, you know, little things like this, little weird coming to a stop, thinking, oh shit, I thought we were gonna have a nice flow walking around, and suddenly we come to a halt. Well, that's actually what happens sometimes when you go hiking. So
camera overheating happens even to professionals. I spent a couple of years working as the producer on a feature film called Do It in Post, and we were using a Red Cam, which, you know, fancy, expensive camera that we happened to have because the cinematographer was working on another project he could borrow it from, and he had to keep an ice pack on top of it the entire time or it would overheat.
I've considered it with this one, honestly.
It's so unsafe, like an ice pack on top of this like expensive electronics, but that's the only way it would run.
I've thought about it with this one, maybe keeping like a frozen or close to frozen wet bandana in the bag and pulling it out to do that, because
it's just so hot down here.
Yeah, it's also like I am having to like relearn everything that I thought I knew about video production. I took some classes in high school, and now I have to pretty much relearn all of it. And I'm finding out about 4K, and I'm finding out, you know, 1080 is not the high quality I used to think that it was, or I guess once upon a time it was.
I still use it, but yeah, it's not anywhere close to 4K.
Yeah, and so like there's a lot of like numbers involved about like, well, when you take the 4K and use the SD card that has 135 instead of the 122, and I guess it just makes the camera work a lot harder than it should, and so it makes it can make it overheat real easy. So is this a trail? No. Yes, maybe. Yeah, let's try this way. Let's just.
I went towards the school.
Maybe, yeah. I hope. Ideally, we can find our way back to the car.
So yeah, I learned on like, I think Final Cut 1 when I was in college. I had one production class. I was studying English with a concentration in film, and I wish I had gotten more hands-on, but I at least got a little, and that taught me the basics of nonlinear video editing. And then from there, I was able to teach myself how to use Premiere eventually, and we'd use that for a bunch of like movies, music videos, whatever.
Gotcha. Premiere is considered linear editing then, or no?
Premiere it's nonlinear video editing, meaning that like linear would be like when Dan went to college at Miami-Dade College.
Okay.
He was taught how to do it on like a bed editing system where they have like reels of film.
Oh, the actual.
Yes, yeah. And you're like cutting it, and that's like linear. You're actually having to just cut out a piece and move it.
Yeah, for the
master or that you're creating or whatever. Yeah.
For the youngins in the audience, the reason it's called a reel and the reason it's called rolling and the reason is because filming used to, well, involved a literal reel of like what was it made of, like
celluloid,
we call it tape, film. Right? Yeah, film. Yeah. And the reason why, if you know, got editing students watching here, why you cut, you use a cut tool is because you would literally have to use a razor to slice the the rolls of film.
Yeah, and then like tape them together to the new one. You like, splice the stuff together physically.
Yeah, and rearrange
that's how Dan
them.
learned, right as they were like getting rid of that and phasing in like Avid machines and stuff instead.
Man,
Danny is Dan Gonzalez, Gonzo Danny, who is my writing partner and the co-founder of the Miami Underground Film Festival.
He's the other guy.
He's seen like every movie ever made, it seems. That's
I
not
think
actually
so.
true, but it's only slightly exaggerated.
Well, I mean, I think almost every day since I've been friends with him on Facebook, which is probably in the 7 to 8 years, maybe more.
Yeah.
Every day he posts about a new movie he's watching.
Several.
Yeah, or several. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Dan and I met years ago in the 90s at a show at Cheers, which was an all-ages LGBT kind of punk club that I think is a Quiznos now. But at the time, it was like the place that you could see like Jack Off Jill and Nation of Fear and the Groovenicks and Smite and Level 9, all these bands that used to play back in the day. And at the time, Dan and my friend Brian had a show on cable access that was called Freestyle Cinema, and they were shooting footage at Cheers, and they wanted me to be in some sketch they never ended up doing that was called Marilyn Hanson. It was some parody of Marilyn Manson and the band Hanson.
I love that.
I don't know, but I ended up becoming friends with them, and so for years I worked on a number of projects with both of them, and Dan and I have become writing partners. Like, he and I worked on the first issue of like a graphic novel series that never like took off, which is what gets announced when I'm announced on like Jeopardy, when Alex Trebek is like, what are you working on right now?
Should have taken notes from him.
Yeah, and I'm like, instead of saying, well, I'm currently in between jobs and on unemployment, it's like, do you have a law degree? Yes, I do. Are you working? No, I should be. And
you have a law degree?
I do, yeah.
My dude, what don't you have?
I went to law school after I finished my English degree, so I lived in Gainesville for 8 years.
Holy shit.
While I was in law school, I realized I really didn't like it, and so I spent like my last year of law school writing a screenplay with my friend Andy Clark, and he still works with us on the Miami Underground Film Festival.
That's awesome.
And we wrote a horror movie that was like Lovecraftian and LGBT themed.
Interesting.
And we ended up putting together our first crew and shooting our first movie, and I made my first feature while I was in my final year of law school, and that's
holy shit,
basically what I've been stuck in ever since. The monster in it was Hastur from the works of like Robert W. Chambers and August Derleth and H.P. Lovecraft, and the theme of the movie was called The Yellow Sign, and that is why I end up with the only tattoo I have, which is the yellow sign.
Oh no shit. But it's like
very faded because I got it 25 years ago.
It's not yellow, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't actually described as yellow, even though it's called the yellow sign.
Well, the wildest part about that story is that you're over 25.
Yeah.
Because I don't, you were never a smoker, huh? Because you look very young.
I smoked cloves for, God knows, 23 years, I think.
Oh man.
And then I was like, I should probably stop like coughing up blood, so I just quit one day.
Good for you, man. Good for you. We like to, as much as we talk shit, we like to promote good health here on OTC.
I mean, I used to smoke a lot of cloves. I went to a lot of goth nights and fetish party nights and stuff like that, and now I don't. So.
But you still kept the good parts of the subculture, right?
Yeah, I'll still go to goth nights and everything.
Yeah,
it's fun. I used to be a videographer, so I would go to a lot more events. Haven't done that in a while.
You still wear the leather, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, I think we're almost back at the car, but
okay,
we can probably.
We can walk some more.
Yeah, it's weird because we never set like the map on all trails here, and I don't have a paper map, so I like every time I see a turn, I think it might be a new one. It would suck to get lost over here, but when you can still see the sun and hear the cars and know where the road is, this is a whole lot of fun. Now. I got like...
You can eventually just walk in any direction and you'll be out of here.
Yeah,
I know. Climb over underbrush, yeah.
I know, exactly. Just try not to step on any This feels like exactly the place where there would be a shit ton of snakes, but I haven't seen a single one.
I've just seen a lot of like, it looks like horse shit on the ground, but I don't know that anybody actually has horses around here.
So you think
can drive like 10-15 minutes and be in the neighborhood that's called horse country, so there aren't horses that far, but
that's a 15-minute drive. That's what, like a 7-minute horseback ride?
it might be longer than that, I don't know. I guess some people might ride their horses through here because there's a lot of horse shit on the ground.
Yeah, because
thankfully dry. My shoes look pretty clean.
Yeah, it would be really weird if there was a lot of horse shit here, but no horses. The people just carried in the horse poop. Maybe they're trying to cover something up.
I'm remembering this bit that David Cross did years ago about like walking through the streets of New York and just seeing like a used condom every few feet, and he's just like people don't have time to stop. They gotta fuck right in the middle of the street. Or the worst option is there's some guy who just like every month he's like, oh shit, it's Thursday, and then he's just going out with like a big box full of his used condoms, just like some fucked up Johnny Appleseed, just like trying to make a chud baby. So.
Oh my god, a chud baby. David Cross is fantastic in the sense that like, well, in lots of senses, but in one that like, you know who he is by face. You might not necessarily, unless you're like really into stand-up comedy, you might not even know his name, but you've absolutely seen Scary Movie 2. You've absolutely seen, I'm gonna butcher it. Is it Arrested Development that he's in?
Yeah, he was Tobias on there.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, he's on Mr. Show is like with Bob and David, him and Bob Odenkirk really, their careers kind of took off from there on HBO in the 90s. They had both done smaller things before that, but that was where they really were allowed to be creative and launch a bunch of other big names like Tom Kenny, who became SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay.
Paul F. Tompkins, who has done a bunch of things, including being Mr. Peanut Butter on BoJack Horseman.
Okay.
And like doing Comedy Bang Bang and like a million other things. Jill Tolley, who is Tom Kenny's wife, was also on there, and she does a bunch of voices on the Boondocks and other things.
This is all going to be on the quiz.
Oh, and one of the most famous ones they probably don't want to talk about is Jay Johnston, started out on there, who later went on to be Jimmy Pesto on Bob's Burgers, and also was at January 6th.
I did not expect to hear that one.
Which is why when that happened, Tim Heidecker put out a tweet where he's like, oh, Mr. Show reunion at the Capitol building.
Oh my god. that one
immediately deleted.
That one really made me like lean over laughing because you were just giving me this fountain of knowledge, and most of it was so exciting, and I'm like, yay, yes, tell me more.
Hey, Marilyn Rayscub from 24 was on there, yeah.
24,
She was Chloe on 24 with the I don't know, I never watched the show, but like, she was like the one who was at the woman at the screen, I guess, basically, with the headpiece on.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen.
Sarah Silverman was on there, Jack Black, before he had really done anything.
Okay, cool.
That's not true, he was like child actor and stuff, but before he was a household name at least.
Jack Black was a child actor?
Yeah, he did a bunch of things when he was younger. Also, his mom worked for NASA.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's a famous story about how basically his mom was working on some calculations up to the last minute before she went into labor with him.
Oh my god.
For NASA, for some space launch or something like that.
That kind of explains the weirdness, though.
It also explains why he got to do one of the funniest pilots that never got picked up, produced and directed by Ben Stiller. It was called Heat Vision and Jack. It was Jack Black plays a wandering astronaut who has been bombarded by like cosmic rays or something, so that he's able to like know everything in the universe as long as the sun is out, like powered like by the sun by like Superman.
Interesting.
As soon as it goes down, he loses all that knowledge. But during the day, he's the smartest man alive. And his best friend is a talking motorcycle played by Owen Wilson. And he just kind of wanders from town to town trying to solve crimes like the Incredible Hulk or Knight Rider or like Kane from Kung Fu or whatever. It was very much a parody of those kind of shows from the 70s, but done in like the 90s. And I guess nobody wanted to pick it up, but you can watch it on YouTube.
How did you pick it up?
Because so many like these people like from Mr. Show and a lot of the other alt comedy folks would talk about this great pilot that they wish they could have that they got picked up, but they've only seen like passed around on VHS at these parties. Oh, and it was written by Dan Harmon, who did Community and Rick and Morty.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, it's absolutely hilarious thing. It's very dated now, and the special effects are super cheap, but it's funny as hell.
That's funny, dude. Yeah, it's first is like the actual like information that you have is fantastic on its own, but then finding out where you got it or how you came about it is, to me, almost just as interesting, because it's just like shit. Like sometimes it's shit that nobody else has ever heard of. Like, here's one.
Spent a lot of time on the internet.
So there was one of the Shrek movies that came out with like Rumpelstiltskin. Am I even pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
I was like, this guy kind of looks like the ShamWow guy. And then I went to Andrew. I was like, yo, doesn't this fucking character kind of look like the ShamWow guy? And you gave me the entire background story
of Vince Offer.
Yes.
Oh yeah, his whole backstory
ShamWow
with
guy.
Scientology, and how basically like Vince Offer had been trying to make it in Hollywood, and so he did like a deal with the devil with the Church of Scientology, where he wanted to get his like shitty sketch comedy movie made, the Underground Comedy movie, I think is what it's called. It eventually ended up being sold through infomercials on late night television. It's got like some of like the bottom of the barrel like cameos you could find.
That's how we got hooked up with the ShamWow people, is through the infomercial industry, I guess you could call it.
I believe that the Church of Scientology helped finance the movie, and then it didn't make its money back, and there was like lawsuits and stuff.
With the Church of Scientology lawsuits? Really?
It's been like a number of years since I've actually read up on this, so a lot of the details are a lot fuzzier than probably when I last brought it up to you.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and then he ended up doing the Slap Chop and the ShamWow, and yeah, like the Underground Comedy movie is just god awful. If you watch it, it's just, they were very hard, like trying to do like their own Kentucky Fried Movie, or like a Abrams Zucker type zany spoof parody movie.
Gotcha.
And it's just a bunch of shitty sketches. They don't hold together well, but they have a couple of cameos that they could use in the commercials to try to sell it. They'd be like, hey, look, it's this guy. Was it like maybe Michael Clark Duncan is like he's big and tough, but he's gay, and it's like, oh wow, that's so wacky.
Oh God, you'd be surprised.
I'm sorry, he was the gay virgin who was saving himself for marriage.
Oh God,
that was the joke.
Okay, that at least is a little more creative, because you'd be surprised how much still in like today's stand-up world, how much like, but I'm gay, it's still a fucking punchline, and I'm like, dude, like, I'm not saying you can't joke about certain subjects, it's not offensive or anything like that, it's just such low fucking hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it drives me wild. But check it out, I think we've walked every little branch of the hand that is this trail.
Okay. So
why don't we close this up, take a break? We're gonna go sit down, and I want to ask you a little bit more about your work involved in film and the Miami Underground Film Festival.
I'm supposed to promote. That's right. Like...
Yeah, but don't worry. We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna sit down, have a little snack, and you can tell us about that. What do you think?
Sure. I'm the one who works in marketing, but Dan's the one who always remembers to promote.
All right. Cool. Well, we'll help do a little bit of that. Hopefully, Dan doesn't lose his job. All right.
That'll be fun.
We'll see you soon. All right, looks good. Welcome back to On Trail with Comedians. I'm here with my guest Andrew Schwartz, and we finally found a place to sit. It wasn't super easy. We didn't bring chairs for that one trail we were in, and I don't know if I would have trusted sitting down on that floor without a burrowing wasp burrowing into my ass.
Well, there's also just horse shit everywhere.
Yeah, there was horse shit everywhere, and
now we're by Killian.
Yeah, we went from one school to another.
Can I dedicate this segment to Gonzo Danny?
Absolutely.
Great, because he hates seeing people eat on camera. So this one's for you, Dan.
All right. Well, yes. This time I didn't make anything for my guest. It was made by experts, actually. We are having pub subs, which I know that we are not exactly in the middle of the wilderness right now, but it is a good lunch to bring.
It's a local delicacy.
Yeah, public subs are not just legendary, but they are a good idea to bring on trail and camping. But what you got to do is you got to get them kind of plain, which is, perfect for Andrew.
Yeah.
But you get them kind of plain, and then you get the little sauces and stuff on the side so that it won't be so soggy when you get to camp. And I know what you're wondering, but wait a minute, they have little packets of ketchup and mustard and even oil and vinegar, but what about the pickles? Well, the pickles, you can't bag them of.
Those are dripping.
That is a lot of pickles. This is why I triple bagged it, and unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be able to recycle these bags. But Anyway, I'm gonna have a couple of bites.
Those bags are soaked with brine.
Those bags are what?
Soaked with brine.
Soaked with brine. What is brine? See, you teach me something.
The salt water that they used to make it pickle. You put a cucumber in like water, like it's.
Oh, I thought it was just vinegar.
It's vinegar. It's got salt in it too.
Interesting. Well, my hands are going to be vinegary for the rest of the day, but it's better than a soggy sandwich. So, not too bad so far. So,
This is Raw Neiman. I used to go here a lot growing up.
yep, we found a little park. It's still the outdoors, but I guess technically speaking, we aren't really in the middle of the wilderness.
No,
But that's all right.
They can't see all the kids like playing soccer over there.
Yeah, no, it works out anyway. It'd be really funny. We should totally like Bear Grylls it right now and like bring out this like big fucking knife and start eating pigeons and shit. And then like a little kid walks by with a stroller and a like baby doll in it.
Catch you just drinking your own urine.
I think that would be super cool. That's probably one of the funniest things about Bear Grylls, which like, first of all, you know, Les Stroud, the other guy, Survivor, I don't have to tell you, you know, but has kind of beef with him because he took what Les was doing and made it like more action-y, but he wasn't actually like apparently staying the night or doing those things he was saying.
It's a show, yeah.
But then, no, but Stroud was actually doing that, like, he was staying overnight. He was like...
But isn't it like most reality shows where it's like, they're presenting reality, not reality. Where they're presenting something that looks like a certain thing. But
To a degree. There are episodes that are like director's commentary that he has on YouTube, and he tells you basically what things were faked and what things weren't. And one of the main things that was faked, for example, is that he kills a rattlesnake and eats it. And what happened is that he had killed it earlier off camera. And he said he wanted to say that it was fake, but the network told him like, nah, man, he's gonna ruin all the excitement of the show.
You did kill it, you just didn't
Kill it on
at
camera.
the time you saw it on camera.
Yeah, or like the guy who took him out there on a boat killed it or something like that. But he did, you know, take a dead rattlesnake, skin it, cook it over a fire that he made. And that's apparently like some of the stuff that Grylls wasn't doing. He wasn't spending the night outside, and he got really pissed about it. But then on top of that, Grylls drank his piss like, I think like a lot.
I mean, that's like an internet meme at this point.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, 6 o'clock, better drink my own piss. You know?
But it's like, not only, he wasn't really like in a situation where he had to drink his own piss, but also drinking your own piss is not that great of an idea in the outdoors for survival.
I think it's just more of a fetish at that point.
Yeah. Like, I think you really have to like know about piss and know that like, all right, is it diluted enough that it's going to be more beneficial to me to drink it or not drink it? But I don't know if Bear Grylls knew any of that.
It's mostly waste for a reason you don't want to drink it, unless you're filtering it or something. And even then, how much of it can be reclaimed? I don't really want to try to find out.
No, I don't think so. We only eat poop on this podcast. We don't. It's, by the way, a surprise.
I mean, the FDA has to allow a certain amount, otherwise nothing's going to be able to be produced.
It's at the end of the sandwich.
It's like a Mr. Show, you know, if you write a sketch, you're going to have a little bit of rat feces in there, you know?
Exactly, I agree. Well, I'm going to put this aside for a second so that my chewing doesn't completely alienate Danny. Because So, Andrew, you are a co-creator, co-founder, what do you call it, of right here. Hopefully you can see it. These cameras don't have a fantastic zoom.
Yeah, the Miami Underground Film Festival. So, let me take you back a number of years. Gonzo Danny and I had been working on several projects, one of which we devoted a number of years to, called Sunny City Shady People. We wanted to make our own series set in Miami that was about the quirks of Miami, and doing it through the lens of a couple of guys who worked for a CIA-like organization.
I'm sorry, a CIA-like organization?
Yeah, you know how like there's a number of like quasi-governmental agencies that are not actually government agencies, but they ended up being hired to work for projects like Blackwater did, or XE, or whatever you call it.
Well, I do now.
Like they're a bunch of like, you know, like mercenaries basically that are hired by the government, maybe paid off the books, doesn't matter. So we we had a show that was kind of lampooning that idea, set in Miami. And we ended up making our own pilot that we self-financed. It took us a number of years to make, but you can watch it on Amazon, Sunny City Shady People. We tried shopping it around. We got so far as talking to, I believe it was like Viacom, for some meeting that they had for like, we're looking for new content for MTV. We go, awesome, we got the script that we made, and we made like a pilot and everything. And look at this like packet that we put together and stuff. And then after like we did our pitch for them, they brought in all the people that had pitched to them that day and sat us down in like a small auditorium type. Maybe it was like a ballroom in a hotel on South Beach. And they're like, so what we were looking for was we want to make reality shows that are really, really easy to transplant to the Latin American market. So something that's super cheap to produce, but shows off like really pretty real estate and pretty people and stuff like that. And we can just hire local people, but then we can just take this formula and do it again in Argentina and Colombia and Brazil and wherever else, Mm-hmm. And so we're like, okay, that's nothing like what we presented. So we're not going to hear anything back. Nope. Okay, we did. So that was basically as far as we got. We tried pitching at a number of other places, nothing, nobody really bid. So we're like, all right, well, how are we going to get anybody to see this thing? We tried some film festivals where we were either too long to get in or they just weren't interested or whatever. So we finally just said, I guess we can make our own film festival. And I was working for an event company in Wynwood at the time, so I'd learned a lot about event production, and I was doing social media marketing already as my day job, so we just invented this film festival. I talked to my friend Chuck Livid. He helped me put together some bands. Chuck did Tough Gnarl, and he had a record label, a punk record label, and he's just lived a bunch of different, very interesting lives.
Okay.
Chuck Livid is a fascinating person. Yeah, I'd be happy to look him up. He's a really cool guy.
Gotcha.
Now he sells a bunch of vintage comics now.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Amongst other things. But yeah, so our first few years we did it at Churchill's Pub.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. There's some lawsuit going on right now. Who knows what's going to happen with it in the future? I certainly don't, but I wish them well.
Churchill's versus Chili's?
There's some kind of internal drama between like the owner and the management. I don't know all the details. I used to hear a lot more of them, but I'm not sure exactly what's happening. I just saw some legal documents that were published on social media recently. So hopefully things go well, and maybe one day we'll get Churchill's back. I don't know if that's in the cards at all, but I would love it if we did, because that was like the home of local music for a long time.
That was a pretty legendary spot. And,
yeah, my band played there for over a decade. I love that place.
Yeah, and that's where the part of this started, right?
Yeah, so we decided we needed a venue to hold this at. So we were really flying by the seat of our pants the first year, but we put together something that was just a showcase for Florida talent. We got shorts of varying like lengths, everything from documentaries to music videos to animation to drama and comedy, whatever. And it was really cool to put that together and see like a lot of different backgrounds coming together for that. Everybody from like the actual local music scenes, from like, the punk and goth and metal and rock scenes, as well as like hip hop and reggaeton and whatever else. Everything from like kids that have just graduated, or this is like their thesis project that they wanted to show, to like retirees that are just like, well, I'm not working anymore and I got money, so I bought a camera. Let's see what I can do with it.
And how did you get people to submit? Did you advertise on social media?
We did, yeah, and we used a site called Film Freeway that we still use, where you can submit for free to the Miami Underground Film Festival. We are taking submissions pretty much always, so
take notes.
Yes. So that was our very first year. We did it there. We tried a number of different things, some of which didn't work. Like we had live music for the first few years, and unfortunately people would show up to see their movies, and then afterwards the music would start like after the film festival had finished, and pretty much everybody dipped. So we're like, okay, that sucks for the band.
That sucks for the band,
like that, yeah. The band's just like, oh, I'm playing for my friends again. All right, great. We thought we were gonna have an audience. So we stopped doing that. After the second year, we moved it to the Hard Rock Cafe at Bayside. The one that's shaped like a spaceship that's on the water. And we did it there for, how many years? I want to say 5 years, I think. It was 4 or 5 years that we did it there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it might have been 4 years, because we started in 2018, and then last year, for our first year, we did it at the Villain Theater in Little Haiti.
Okay, yeah, I've done comedy there. I've done comedy in all those but the Hard Rock.
The Hard Rock was an interesting place to do it. We liked our time there. There were a number of problems with like the audio being turned off because somebody's having a birthday party or something like that.
Boy, just in the middle of?
Yeah, that kind of thing happened a couple of times, which was frustrating. But we did have our own room there with its own screen, which was neat. So, like a private venue. The Villain was nice. Maybe we'll do it again there this year. Maybe we'll do it somewhere else. We're not sure yet. But it's, as I said, it's a showcase for local talent, and that's always our goal, is we just take Florida movies. Like, we prefer stuff that's from South Florida, but we'll take things from anywhere in Florida, because there's a million other film festivals down here. There's the Miami International, the Miami Short Film Festival. There's a bunch of things that...
Yeah, but those are all above ground.
Yeah, that's true. And here, you know, you got to go underground so that you can get flooded by the aquifer, I guess.
It works. So, like a typical, when you talk about the Miami Underground Film Festival 2024, how long does that last? What do you, like, to somebody who wants to go for the first time, how can you sort of describe what that's going to be?
We try to maximize the number of shorts that we can play, so usually somewhere
So
around
no
like,
pants?
I mean, if you want to, you can. If you can go without any pants at all if you want to, but I think the venue might get upset about that.
And you prefer shorts?
As long as, you know, as long as they bought the ticket, who cares? But
I'm going to hammer this joke until it dies.
so we usually have maybe like 35 or so entries each year that we are showing.
Okay.
We get hundreds of submissions, and a lot of them are from people that are not from Florida, even though we put in the rules like, hey, tell us how you're from Florida. Make sure you're from Florida. Make sure somebody's in some relation.
Some relation to Florida.
Yeah, like we've had stuff that was from somebody that grew up here and then moved away, but it's about growing up here or something. Fine, that counts. We've had people that just came down here to shoot something here and are like, okay, you're still showing off Florida. Great, we'll take that. And then we have a number of submissions that actually do fit the categories, but it's just like, this is not like up to the standards. It's just like bad quality, or it's, I don't want to give any names, but like we had like some guy that submitted, I want to say like 8 to 10 videos that were just like a woman announcing her name, saying like the name of the place that she was walking in front of, and then just footage of her like walking silently for several minutes. And I remember Dan and I just watching baffled, going like, this is a fetish thing, right? Like this has to be like this is some weird sex thing. Like somebody just likes watching women walk. It's not even like focused on their feet or something like that. You would think it's just.
They're very. It's a broad.
They're not in like, you know, revealing outfits or anything. They're in pretty like average like clothing. It's just walking. I'm like, all right, this guy just likes watching women walk.
I was gonna say that sounds like a very broad yet specific fetish.
Yeah, because it felt like maybe this guy was used to doing real estate videos, and these are the kind of thing where you do like a walk through a house or something like that. But it's just, and I guess here is a waterway on the side, or this is somebody walking down a suburban street, and you're just on the sidewalk and watching this, and we're like, who is this for? I don't understand. We didn't take any of those.
What kind of?
Take a lot of weird stuff though.
What kind of places was she walking by? Because I think it'd be kind of funny to just be like, Applebee's.
Yeah, like it wasn't even like they're doing a tour guide or kind of thing where it's like, and I'm pointing out, it's just a woman looking like vaguely uncomfortable, just kind of like walking and just like eyes straight ahead, don't look at the camera. Okay, eyes straight, don't look at the camera, walking by. Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Because if they walk by like, you know, Midtown or Miami Design District, and you walk by.
I wish it was that interesting. It was in Broward, and it was mostly just like generic suburban areas.
If you walk by like the Emergildo, I'm gonna butcher this. I'm sorry to my Italian friends. Scusi. Sorry. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock. Quiet on set. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. We do this part of this.
I can't work with these unprofessional conditions. Where's the AD?
No, doing this outside is going to be a part of it. And I can't be like, this show is about building community. Shut the fuck up while I'm filming. You know? No, but I just think it'd be funny if she walks by like the Emergildo Zegna. Sorry to scusi to my Italiano friends, but if she says words that are like foreign and stores that are exotic, then maybe it kind of makes sense.
You're imagining something way more sophisticated than what these submissions were. It's just a woman walking. It's just like, hi, my name is this, and I'm going to do this now, and then just walk.
So she didn't even try to make it like a sexy, like Dunkin' Donuts.
There was so little to this. Like that's why we were just baffled. We couldn't figure out what it's for. I think
maybe he's like a modern day Bob Dylan, and you just don't get it. Could be. Fly next year and see.
And we have some people who submit almost every year. We have some favorites. We're happy to keep taking them. Of varying qualities. Some of the stuff looks like it could have been done by like Trauma, but we love Trauma, so we're fine with that. You know, if something looks like very, very low budget, but it's interesting and compelling to watch, then great. You know, we kept their attention. That's all you needed to do.
That's why you came on my podcast. This is.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to look the most polished. Sometimes people worry about that too much. If they have a boring story, or they did a really good job of like aping some cinematography, but the actual acting is not so great, or as I said, like the story or the idea is just not there.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what shorts are for, is for them to work that out, to figure out, okay, this is what I'm already good at, but these are the elements that I'm lacking at and that I need to work on.
There you go. I think I do like a pretty mediocre both. That's why I bring interesting guests like you on. And what are the categories, or do they vary?
So we decided to do something that we hadn't seen other film festivals do. We have our own award show that's called the Circle Jerk Awards. People have started to figure this out after having been to...
Let me stop you real quick, because my next question was going to be, is it all ages? And so I think probably not with the Circle Jerk Award.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We say it's 18 and up. We have let some... like one year at the Hard Rock, we had some guy show up with his teenage daughters. And they're like, oh, so there's a film festival going on? Can we come in? And we're like, if you want to. This one has nudity in it. This one you might be like suspect. This has a lot of cursing. And they're like, okay, that's fine. Just tell me which one is the nudity. That's all that matters. Sure, okay. And then another year we had a horror movie, and the lead in it, who is now acting in some bigger stuff, Celine Alba, showed up at Churchill's with her mom, going, is she allowed in? She's 16. And we're like, okay, didn't know that she was that young. This is a bar. You're not actually probably supposed to be here, but her mom's here, so as long as her mom's watching her, she's not going to drink anything. It's fine. And she was great in this little like horror short that they did, and she's gone on to do.
Okay, that's cool.
Some movie called like Mob Kings and some other stuff.
So, with that being established of the sort of the age range, you have a horror genre, and it can be pretty much as gnarly as it gets, up to rated R, or what?
Yeah, we don't really care about genre. We really just care that something is usually under 15 minutes and that it was made by somebody in Florida. We just want to see a sampling of what Florida has available. Like our whole goal was similar to the I'm Not Gonna Move to LA festival that they do all the time, that they used to do at O Cinema with like Diliana, what's her called? Filmgate, those people. They've done a good job of that. They do a lot of like smaller events, and I used to go to those, the old cinema in O Cinema in Wynwood, or the one that's on Miami Beach. Great also. They would do like the no LA thing. I'm not going to move to LA, and the idea was let's show off what local people can do. And
Gotcha.
We similarly are like, hey, if you want to move to LA, great. But you have a shitload of competition there. And there's a lot of stuff that's here, and we're just not taking advantage of the resources that we have here. We could have more studios. There are some, but there need to be more. There are some film incentives. There definitely need to be more. And there's just a lot of talent that is just not being tapped, and we wanted to show it off. So
that's great.
We considered ourselves part of that, I guess, and we started our own festival. But hey, like, we weren't going to do a festival just for us. We wanted to show everybody.
Yeah, no.
Something we do every year.
That's great, because I mean, as far as, for example, the comedy scene, I think South Florida, you know, nobody looks at Florida like they look at New York or in LA, but I do think we have some serious talent down here. Yeah. And a lot of times, the reason it gets so overlooked, I'm not saying that it is the only reason it gets overlooked, but a lot of times the reason it gets overlooked is because it's such a pain in the ass to get here.
Yeah. A lot of tours also just don't come all the way down to Miami.
Exactly. A lot of
music and comedy.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure Tampa is the home of a lot of good death metal.
Yeah.
And you know, you get them because that's where they're from.
Tampa and Orlando, North Florida also.
Yeah, but a lot of bands don't come all the way down to South Florida just because it's a pain in the ass to tour.
Yeah. And Tampa had some really good venues for that too. You used to see a lot of metal there. I don't think Crowbar exists anymore. We used to go there, and there's some other places like in Ybor.
That's pretty cool. By the way, I know I said I wasn't going to eat my sandwich, and then I ate my sandwich. I'm so sorry, Danny, if you're watching this, but it was so tasty. And I figured the way that the questions were going with Andrew, he was answering them to such a perfect, like, chewing time frame that I ate the whole sandwich, and I'm really sorry. And I'm also, I swear this is not just to fuck with you, but I'm also awkwardly drinking from this little hose thingy because I don't want to unhook my water bottle for the hikes. So sorry. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So there was a couple of more things I wanted to mention, or I don't know if you want to bring something up.
Yeah, I was saying that we didn't have categories, but what we did is for our Circle Jerk Awards,
That's right,
which we've done for every year, and starting with the first one, though people didn't know this, people were showing up going, oh, who's going to win best film, who's going to win best actor, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, no, we had to watch hundreds of movies, and we picked you guys, so you guys are the winners by being part of the festival. So we just made up an award for each person and gave it to them, and each one of the certificates has like a title that is specifically crafted to that movie, that project. So they would get that, and so sometimes it would be something as specific as, okay, we had one very cinema verite graffiti documentary this year, and we had another one that was more of like a talking head type documentary. Instead of being like on the street and following them around, just a lot more interviewing people. So like one of them won like best cinema verite graffiti documentary, and the other one won best talking head graffiti documentary. Gotcha. They were the only ones in those categories, you know, but like it's true, each one of them was the best at that thing. So we sometimes they have like a silly pun like winning thing, like title or
silly puns
category.
Are the way to go.
Yeah,
I want to open
we make a bunch of.
I want to open like a dog sitting service called D's Mutts. But anyways,
They'll call you a groomer though.
I know. We'll offer those services.
Yeah.
But only if they're mature. That's such a hack joke that like a lot of people have. Yeah. But so earlier when we were in the hike, I did mention that Andrew is a Jeopardy winner, and I just wanted to swing back around that real quick. It's not super relevant to the film festival thing, but just so people know what it is I'm talking about. You got on Jeopardy, you won Jeopardy, and then what happens when that? Or why don't you just tell us the whole story?
Oh, okay. So this was in maybe like 16 years ago. There was an advertisement in the local paper saying that they were doing tryouts for Jeopardy at Gulfstream Park, the horse racing, gambling, whatever place.
Yeah, it's like Dania, Hallandale.
Yeah, it's like somewhere up in Broward. So I drove up there. It's like a huge cattle call. There's just 1,000 people that are all standing around waiting to take a little written test. It's probably like 10, 20 questions, something like that. So you wait and wait until you can finally get to the actual tables, and they give you a little pencil, you fill it out, put your information on there, and they say, if you pass, we'll give you a call back for the next day. So I did that. The next day, they had called me and asked me to come to a hotel somewhere in Broward. And then it was a room of like, I think 50 people. They had some like little conference room, and they had us all sit there, and then they had us answer questions that were being proctored. Like somebody's asking a question, you have, say, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds to write the answer down. And then they went through like 50 of those or so. And when they finally get to the end, they tallied them up, and then they told pretty much everybody in the room to leave except for a dozen. And then the people that were left in the room, they had play a practice game. And that was a way to just see like, hey, we know who scored the best on here. Let's see who's actually going to work on television.
That sounds almost like Men in Black.
Yeah, I felt really bad because there's this one dude who was like 90 and he was on an oxygen tank. And they're like, well, you got one of the highest scores here. It's fucking amazing. Can you stand up and answer questions?
Oh,
like,
no.
And they're like, yeah, you're not TV ready. Sorry.
Oh, no.
So, like,
that's awful.
Yeah, it's it's supposedly academic, but it's entertainment. You know?
Yeah, no, of course, that makes sense. But you still kind of feel bad a little bit.
Yeah, but you feel really bad. You're like, this guy would probably have just kicked everybody's ass if it was just a written test, but it's about answering questions on there. And one of the biggest things is actually getting your buzzer timing down.
Gotcha.
So they had us play some practice games. Just
he might accidentally
and, like show the executives later.
He might accidentally like unplug his own oxygen tank.
Yeah, he could. So, they weren't going to have him on.
Yeah. So I guess it was more than just lack of entertainment. It was liability.
Yep. So they had us like just see how we would look on camera. They filmed it so they could show, I guess, the executives, and then they said, we will let you know Will you have, I think it was 18 months that you'll be in the pool, and we'll get back to you during that time period, or we won't. And so I waited a year.
Did they play the little music while you waited the 18 months?
Oh God, can you imagine a year and a half of that? So I waited a year, and I had not heard anything, so I'm like, well, that was nice. It was nice to imagine, but okay. And then 2 months after that, so it had been 14 months of waiting, I was like waiting in line at the bank ATM, and I got a call on my cell saying like, would you like to be on Jeopardy? I'm like, yeah. They're like, can you be in California in a month? And they're like, oh, cool, you guys gonna fly me out there? No.
They don't fly you out?
Hell no, they don't.
What?
They don't pay shit. What they know is that if you actually end up being on the show, and even if you get like third place, you'll get like $1,000 as a consolation prize, so that like covers your travel expenses.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah. So they asked if I was going to do that, and I said yes, I'd be thrilled to do that. So then I spent the next month like reading various books and watching old episodes of Jeopardy on the Game Show Network, and reading the book Prisoner of Trebekistan, which was written by a guy who had been on Jeopardy back in like the 80s. It was pretty funny the way he wrote it, and like how he figured out how to do like mind palaces to remember shit. Like he was like, okay, I'm terrible at literature, so I'm not going to remember anything that E.M. Forster wrote, but if I can picture like a giant ass, then that's Howard's End, and if it's in a giant room, then it's in like a room of the, exactly. So he figured out like these like mind palace techniques.
That's one good thing. That's one thing I'm good at. Yeah. Not very much. Like
I was not. I should have learned how to do it better.
Like learning parts of the brain in psychology class. I told myself, if you the memory part, if you see a hippo on campus, you're gonna fucking remember that. That's the hippocampus. Okay. Yeah. So little things like that. I helped friends study for their tests after I dropped out of college and stuff. But so anyway, you read all those books, and then
like there were some mnemonics probably that helped as well. But biggest thing was like I found one book that was basically like a pre-Wikipedia book of lists that somebody had written just specifically for Jeopardy, and it was out of print. Okay. But it was stuff like, here's a list of all of Shakespeare's books. You can find that on Wikipedia or whatever. Okay. But it was also stuff like, here are all the different countries that are in Europe. Not accurate anymore because this is before like the fall of the Berlin Wall, so it was like Yugoslavia, and it's like, no, that doesn't really apply. But there was a lot of other stuff that was useful, like they had royal succession, and I did end up getting some question about like one of the was it Henry VIII's son, Edward VI, I think it was.
I would not know.
And, like they had a thing about his armor, and I didn't buzz in, but at the time, like, oh, I just read that, I should whatever, doesn't matter. So I read a bunch of those things, and then yes, I went out to California, and they taped it over 2 days. They had me bring a bunch of extra shirts, so you could like switch between shirts in between each taping.
Okay.
And I did one taping where like I won on the first day after watching a bunch of other people play, like sitting in the audience and watching that. My friend Brian was there also, but we didn't get to like sit next to each other at the time. But
he was competing too?
No, he was just there to moral support.
To support?
And like a couple of my cousins were there also, so he talked to them.
Is it the Brian I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
I give a shout out to him because he's a really nice dude. I did like a small cabinet for him one time, and he was just one of the nicest clients I've ever had.
Do I just call him like B. Krieger, or can I say his real name? Or,
It's up to him. I don't know.
I don't know if he wants his real name. Whatever.
I know what his real name is.
I've known his real name since like 95.
But anyway, so I'm almost out of battery. So tell me the rest of the.
I went on there like the very first game. It looked like I was doing poorly at first. I had a stressful like lunch after we watched a bunch of people play. We sat at lunch, and there was this one girl who worked for MSNBC, and she was just like big timing everybody and just talking about how she'd met all these people and gone to all these places and knew all these things. And everybody's just kind of sitting there, and she's, I don't know, just being really boastful. Yeah. And so then she was dominating in the beginning of my first game. We're going, oh shit, yeah, I guess she's gonna win. And then I turned it around because they had questions about Greek mythology or just general classical mythology and music. And so I went from third to first place. And then even though I lost the final Jeopardy, I won that first game, and then I got to come back.
Cool.
For a second game. I won the second game. Thankfully, the final Jeopardy question was about state quarters, and the answer was Florida. So, hey! And then the third game I lost. But I got to be friends with a guy who beat me on there. Rick Pinedo.
Well, that's very mature of you.
From Modesto, California. He's a teacher. He's a fucking badass. I love that guy. We still talk. Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. Well, before we go, do you want to promote anything? Do you have like a social media page or anything?
Yeah. You can go to the Miami Underground Film Festival, just Miami Underground Film Festival on Instagram and Facebook, and check it out. Like, we're taking submissions still. and we'd be happy to see your short Florida films.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on my podcast, hiking with me, sitting down with me, having a pub sub with me, and just overall hanging out.
Well,
Thank
thanks
you for
for
coming
having
on.
me.
Appreciate it, dude. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you had as much fun as I did. If you want to help the channel grow, you can subscribe or like, hit the notification bell, or leave a comment down below. I'll try my best to answer, so long as you're swinging above the belt. If you really want to help, you want to help me feed my guests and pay my bills, I will put links to my Venmo and Cash App and Patreon down below. If you like my guests, I will also put tags to their social media in the description. Always remember that here at OTC, we encourage our viewers to respectfully and responsibly enjoy the outdoors, know your local ordinances, abide by leave no trace principles, learn something cool, and I'll see you on the next hike.